am curious, as you know, when you were bringing on TM in your department, was there a specific type of person who was, or, department member trait, I guess, of the early adopters? Were they more adventurous? Were they officers? Were they new recruits trying to prove themselves? I'm curious if there was like kind of a type that were like, yeah, raise their hands and yeah, I want to try this.
Again, I'm so lucky in where I'm at. Our last class, we had a couple of probies sign up. So brand new firefighters sign up, all the way to chief of department. One of our deputy chiefs has gone through the program. The other one, I think, unfortunately, his timing hasn't worked out for the courses, but he's interested. But everything in between, we have company officers, firefighters, engineers, our admin staff, a couple of our civilian admin staff have signed up. So it's been really exciting to see how much. One of the things I will add, Jess, is that our first group, I made a little video. I do what I refer to as 5 Bugle Friday videos. Where we just kind of give a little update. I talked about TM. I talked about, we're going to do a pilot group and then, just send me an email. And we filled it up in probably about 5 or 6 days. The second group that we sent out, I sent out the email and we filled all the spots in about 90 minutes. So, and that I truly think was the first group out there talking about the benefits that they had. That was one of the feedback pieces that I got from email was I heard from my engineer, I heard from my firefighter how valuable this is. I heard from my battalion chief how valuable it was, and people signed up pretty quickly.
Oh yeah, word of mouth is the best advertising you can have in the fire service. Right?
Good and bad. Good and bad.
Oh yes,
yeah.
That's how we kill things and how we bring them to life, right? Right at the kitchen table, right? When we're sitting around in the slow moments.
Yeah. One of the exciting things for me that I think that one of the things that I'm very excited about is in February, we're hiring a class of 9 recruits for our academy. Our academy is part of a consortium, and we're offering to those 9 recruits the opportunity to learn TM before they go to the academy. That's sort of based on 2 things. First is we want to give them those tools ahead of time. So before they get to line, that they have some level of resilience, that they have a tool that they can use if they want it. But the other part is based on a study that was done at Norwich University over the course of about 5 years. And they took, Norwich University is the oldest private military university in the country. And they took a group of their cadets and taught them TM before they started their recruit training. And they found that they had better grades, that they did better on their performance metrics, their physical performance, et cetera, and they had less anxiety. So if we can take recruits before they start the academy and give them a tool that they can have less anxiety, we think that we're going to get some results out of that. So.
Yes. And I was going to ask, like, what are we doing at academy level? Because that's really where we have, I think, a little more time and space and capacity, to onboard these tools and then make them habitual, right? So that then 100%. It'll last them their career. That's awesome. And remind me, how many departments are in your consortium?
So we have 10 departments in our consortium, and they vary in size from, small departments like myself, all the way up to some metropolitan departments. So we think with what we're going to gain from this, and we're working with some researchers, is by using this smaller group, we're going to have about 40 recruits altogether. And then there's 9 from front range that potentially will learn this skill. So we're going to be able to compare with a survey afterwards, that level of performance, as well as the level of anxiety and stress that they may have felt.
Awesome. And did you, again, was it kind of a volunteer basis where you asked who would like to participate?
Who would like to learn? We gave them some background information so they understood, because obviously they haven't been exposed to the firefighters here that have already had that training. So we gave them some background information, gave them, if you'd like to sign up, let us know by this date, and then we work out the schedule as part of their orientation. Of course, like most places, we have an orientation week or two. So we're just gonna roll it into that period.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. And for those who are watching who maybe, are into their careers or may not be in a department who is quite willing to jump on the TM train yet. The nice thing about it, to my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, is that you can learn it on your own, right? This is something you can go out and learn on your own as an individual.
You absolutely can. Yeah, just by doing a search for, I believe it's tm.org, you can find a local instructor to learn the skills, and it's very, very easy to learn. I'll just share that after my very first session, you end up meditating with the instructor, and opened my eyes, and I said, I don't know if I did it right, but I feel really good. and the instructor said, yeah, you're doing it right. That's it.
Awesome. Yeah. And that is, I love that empowerment aspect of like, I can still do this, even if, my department hasn't adopted it. I can still make this part of my career wellness, on the spectrum. And speaking of that, let's circle back to stoicism for a minute, because I I don't think we talk about that enough in the fire service. And just as a philosophy, I'm curious how for you it zippers into the topic of wellness. Like,
Wow. It really, it's wellness and sorry about that. Physical and mental well-being. It's self-awareness. It is recognizing, like we talked about with Viktor Frankl, right? That we have a choice in how we show up and how we react. It's what Stoicism does, though. I think instinctively, if we said we all have a choice in how we react, I think most people would agree. Of course, that's logical. It's common sense. But Stoicism sort of gives us the tools to do that, and recognizing that we all suffer, that we all have obstacles, that we all have struggles, and it's, whether that's a matter of luck or what have you, we have the opportunity to react in a better way. I just read just a fantastic book on quitting, and you think, well, quitting, what is that about? And the idea of the book was that sometimes we don't recognize that we do have the opportunity to press forward or quit and make a good decision, because sometimes we get emotionally invested in a job, a relationship, a situation. And just like pressing ahead can be a discussion, quitting can be a good discussion as well. And we can do that in a non-emotional way, for some logic as well.
Mm-hmm. And yes, there's this, I think the narrative is that we always have to keep pushing and get to the end and see it all through. But I think for some people, yes, their journey might be shorter, and they may have learned what they needed to learn from that experience with an early exit as well. I like that. Again, the inner awareness aspect of recognizing, yes, like maybe this is as far as I go with this experience, and pushing further it's not gonna do me any good, right? I'm inflicting suffering upon myself and others. So
yeah, and all the reasons that we give ourselves, that spent costs, boy, I've invested this much time, I've invested this much money, I've invested, and I've got to make it work. I've got to make it work. And sometimes, to me, that's the other side of it's stoicism, in a way that also brings some level of health and wellness to ourselves when we give that up. So.
mm-hmm. When we kind of zoom out to some of the recruitment trends that are happening right now, of not having as many candidates and new recruit retention. How do you think, what have you seen, and what's your overall take on, because if we encourage quitting, then it's kind of, well, we understand then some of the trends that are happening, but how, I guess I'm asking how we can tie these two ideas all together of, what you're seeing as trying to recruit people, but also, at what point do you encourage them, like, maybe this wasn't a good fit for them career wise, or maybe they want a second career. Like, how do you balance those two philosophies?
Well, I think there's a lot in that. There's all kinds of little slices in that one. We've, knock on wood, we've been doing really well at Front Range as far as recruitment goes. We're getting a large number of qualified applicants for each position. So we've been very fortunate in that way. I think that part of that is that we are upfront in what we are. We don't make ourselves out to be something big. We're not one of the metro area departments. You're not going to run a couple structure fires each and every day here at Front Range, but you're going to have a job in a department that cares about you, that cares about your wellness and your well-being, that we want you to be here for 30 years. And if you can't be here for 30 years, we'll support that as well. Like many places, occasionally we'll lose a firefighter because they want to go to a larger department, or they want to be on a heavy rescue team, or they want to be deployed all the time in wildland instances, or they want to be closer to home. And what we tell firefighters is that if you leave here because you did not believe that you were valued in the way of how you were treated, the culture of the organization, your wages and benefits, that's my fault. If you leave because you want to do something a little bit different, if you're looking for an organization that's larger, smaller, closer to home, what have you, we will help you. We will write recommendation letters. We will help you be prepared for the test. We'll do whatever it takes to help you be successful in that quest. And we have very few people that leave us for those reasons. And usually that's what it is. We lost a firefighter to Washington State because that's where his family was from, or what have you. That's just an example. So quitting for those types of reasons is 100%. We support that, and we want to help people be successful. Quitting because you're quitting the organization, or you're quitting your bosses because the bosses didn't, that's on me. And if that ever happens, that I will take that personally and work to fix that problem. So I think that's a major chunk of it. The other thing that I think is going on is old guys like me could never understand why a firefighter might be looking for a second career, right? They did something for 5 or 10 or 15 years, and now they want to be a firefighter for 5 or 10 or 15 years. And maybe they want to do something else for 5 or 10 or 15 years. And it's just an understanding that culturally, that is where many people are today, and embrace that. It's okay. What we need to do is we need to make those firefighters feel significant and valued during that time that they're here, and learn from them, because many of them have skills that I will never in a million years have in the way of technology and some of those types of things. So embrace it and learn all that we can from them, and help them feel valued when they're here. And if they move on to another career, I did lose a firefighter 2 years ago that his second career is going to be in aerospace engineering. From being a firefighter to being a rocket scientist. And that's really cool. And I'm excited for them.
That is, and that I think also brings some, those fresh ideas, and the fresh kind of that mixing of, being able to release tradition a little bit, to innovate, and to, to have people with these kind of exciting skill sets that can overall, help the fire service evolve itself. I think that's good. To rockets, I'm just kind of blown away by that. That's a big jump there. Good for
It's
him.
huge. And it truly, like when you knew this individual's personality, he spoke at such a level of intelligence. I'm 100%. I never saw his IQ scores, but I'm sure he was a genius because one of the smartest firefighters I've ever worked with, and just know he's going to be successful at whatever he does.
Mm-hmm. Can you give us a little sneak peek of kind of what you're looking for in a recruit these days? Like, what qualities are you selecting for our viewers who maybe are doing lateral transfer, or are new to the fire service? What are you looking for as a very progressive chief?
So looking for someone who's adaptable to change. Front Range and most of northern Colorado and all of Colorado is going through a lot of change as far as population growth. As you know, Colorado, last I looked, is sixth fastest growing state in the country, and about 50% of that growth has been in the two counties that we serve at Front Range. So it's growing very rapidly. Again, I mentioned I worked for South Metro for 30 years, and we experienced that all through the 90s and the early 2000s, some of that huge increase in population. So when we're looking for firefighters, we're looking for firefighters that are great team players, that are supportive. You can't see it because I've got the little fake screen behind me right now. But behind me, I have a little saying that's on my little file cabinet. And it says, what would it look like if each of the members of the department were most concerned about the success of the other members of the department? That's the kind of level of teamwork that we're looking for. And we're looking for people that are adaptable to growth and change. People that when you throw out an idea that says, hey, would you like to learn meditation? I've never thought about that, but yeah, I'll sign up for that and give it a try. And if it doesn't work, be okay with quitting, saying, boy, I tried this, I invested a little bit of time, it's not working for me, and we throw those ideas out. One of the ideas that I frequently, meditation seems to be the number one thing that I get asked about right now, but the number two thing that we get asked about is our shift change time. Our shift change time, I believe right now, department-wide, we're the only department in Colorado that has an evening shift change, 1900. There are some other departments that individual ranks do that. West Metro, for instance, their battalion chiefs do an evening shift change. But recently, a friend of mine texted me and wanted to know about the nighttime shift change. And we kind of conversed about it. And his questions were mostly related to, how do the members feel about this? And I said, they're in favor. They like it. That, the same thing. We've done some after action. We've done some surveys, satisfaction surveys about it. And it felt like he had asked me about 3 or 4 times whether or not the members really liked it. And finally, I responded back and I said, you have to understand something. If the members didn't like it, they would change it. They would come to me and they'd say, Mike, we don't like this anymore. We want to go to something else. We want to try something else. We want to do something else. And we would try something else. And so firefighters who are adaptable to change, who are open-minded, who are eager to try new things, and aren't so invested in this is the only way we do things, that they're open to that. And that's really who we're looking for.
Yes. And that I think you're right. It's twofold. It's adaptability and willingness to let go of the things that aren't working. And that's, again, coming back to full circle to self-awareness, having that own self-awareness for our own wellness and doing things that are working and dropping the things that aren't, the habits that aren't, right? I love all this. I think it's, there's so much to chew on in what we've just been talking about. And I always like to leave our viewers with one resource that you think really exemplifies kind of the conversation today. And I'm just curious what would you leave our folks with who are watching today?
I think the importance of recognizing that the fire service and the world is changing, and be aware of those changes and educate yourself. You don't have to believe everything that's out there, but you have to at least expose yourself to the things that are out there through reading, through listening, through learning. This is, I think it's the most exciting time to be a firefighter ever. And I have a lot of my great mentors were firefighters in the 60s and 70s. And one of them takes a little spin on an old, a Japanese philosophy that's talked about that the best time to plant a tree was 30 years ago, and the second best time is right now. And he took that and he said, the best time to be a firefighter, in his opinion, was 1970, and the second best time is right now. In 1970, certainly the fire service was going through a lot of changes and went to a lot of fires and did a lot of work and learned an awful lot. But I think that we're all learning an awful lot about wellness, taking care of each other, doing the job better, taking care of Mrs. Smith in a great way. But the only way we can do that is to be open to those ideas, try it on for size, and if it doesn't work, take it off and try something else. And that's what I would say is read, learn, listen, try, and just keep getting better every single day.
That's an excellent mindset to have. Do you have a book or a podcast or a YouTube video that you think really, because we've talked about many today, and I will link all of those below, but is there one in particular, or even tm.org, or which one kind of would you put at the top of the pile?
Oh, wow. Geez, you just got me, because I have to pick one of the 50 that I go to, it seems like.
It's just the next step. The next step for someone, to try on.
Yeah, I think if you have an interest in stoicism, we touched on that. Didn't think we were going to go down that road, but Ryan Holiday and the Daily Stoic, I think, is a great. If you're looking for a 15-minute snippet of stoicism every single day, that's a great way to get that. I think it's a great place to start on that philosophy. I think if people are really interested in overall health and wellness, I think Peter Attia is a doctor that I would follow on social media, because he's really looking at a lot of the things that Attia talks about, which a guy my age are concerned about with longevity and health span. A lot of the things that he teaches really can be implemented in your 20s, 30s, and 40s. And I think that there's some great material there. And then anything to do with overall mental health, and tm.org is a great place. I'm going to mess up the website, but the Center for Resilience, which is the David Lynch Foundation's website related to veterans and first responders, is fantastic.
All right. Well, I will put all 4 of those below for everyone that is watching now. And any closing thoughts, Chief, about anything we talked about today? Any last ideas you want to throw out there for our viewers?
There's old people in your firehouse. There's old guys and gals that have been around for 20 or 25 or 30 years. And they're telling you that this job goes by in a blink of the eye, that it goes by like that. And when I was 20, I heard that and didn't really listen to it. And what I'll tell you is they were right. I swear to you, it goes by faster than you could ever imagine. And one of the tools, another website, 4,000 Weeks, is a great philosophy on stoicism and memento mori as a principle, which this gentleman says that based on our average lifespan, we're going to live about 4,000 weeks. That's it. And I've been in the fire service for about 2,200 weeks. And I have a calendar that I mark down a little, almost looks like a Scantron sheet, 52 weeks a year. And I think about, at the end of every week, did I do something with that dot? Did I do something that was meaningful? Because at the end of this career, in a couple thousand weeks, it goes by really fast. And so enjoy each and every one of your weeks because they go by really fast.
Mm-hmm. Yes, they do. In hindsight, and when you look back from the whiplash of life, you're like, whoa. So thank you so much, Chief West, for joining us today. And again, I will put all those resources below the video, and thank you for sharing all your wisdom with us, and so many resources, so many things to think about and paths for us to follow from here. And as always, thank you to our viewers for watching, and my door is always open to you as well. If you have any comments or feedback on this, or just want to share your thoughts with us, you can email me at info@firepowerx.com. And in the meantime, we will see you in the next webinar, and thanks for watching.